Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining me for another time video here on Journey on the Fly. Today I want to show you how to tie a fly that was slightly inspired by a friend of mine who just simply kind of recommended a bead color, and then I ran with the bead color and was very surprised at how well this fly performed on wild streams. So I call this fly the Pink Lady. First off, I'm using, just for today's purposes anyways, First Drift's tungsten slotted beads. This is a metallic light pink. That's important for this particular fly. I'm using a Firehole 520. I absolutely positively love these cool little jig hooks that Mike has created. This box is a 20, but I'm using a size, I think it's a 16. These hooks are so cool, and you can see why. They're jigged, but they're curved, like a lot of insects end up being in the water, especially for scuds and pupas and things of that sort. It's very cool hook. Then I'm simply using some UTC wire in gold. You can use pink on this, but I've been having a hard time finding pink. And then our dubbing is, I believe it's a Hare's Ear Plus, and it's a light olive. Okay, light olive is important as well for this particular. And then finally, we use some CDC because this gets a hackle. It's a little bit longer of a tie for normal flies, but I just love CDC, and this is in wood duck. Okay. So I've already got some CDC prepped and ready to go. We got our hook and the bead. As far as thread goes, if you've watched my other videos, we're just using Semperfi nano thread, and I love it because it's thin stuff. It doesn't build up bulk unless you want it to, and if you're building a fly that you need bulk built out of the thread, use a different kind of thread. And so we start that behind the bead. I'm gonna get rid of our excess. The very next thing I do, we're gonna drop. I like to take and drop, if I can, my wire right in that slot to tie it back through. And the reason is it just kind of helps a little bit extra to keep that slot where it needs to be. And then on these hooks, I'm not going to tell you to go to the bend because the bend is immediate. Cruise down behind that bend a little bit if you want to. Give your fly a little bit more, in my opinion, realistic profile with that bend. And we're going to just take, I always use a little bit of wax. I'm a fan of wax. Until I get the Christmas vacation syndrome where I can't get crap off my hands. It's hilarious. You'll hear me here all frustrated because I got stuff stuck on my hands. Nevertheless, we're just going to put a nice little thread of about, I don't know, that's an inch to 2 inches, and I do it thin because I don't want my profile on my flies really vast. And doing it this way, I can control it. And I just work forward somewhat even, and then when I get here I go back, and then I can build it up and give myself that carrot shape. Okay, and we're just going to put a couple wraps of this on there, bring it back down behind the bead, go 1 2 3 behind it, and then 1 2 3 in front of it, and wiggle the baby broke just like that. Now what I do here, so I'm going to get my Swiss CDC clamp, which I absolutely love. I don't care that this thing was 40 bucks. It is worth every penny. Actually, I found it on sale before Christmas, I think. But nevertheless, love this thing. So I can go down in here. I can grab my CDC. I'm prepped for that now. So I put my finger on the underside of the thread and I wrap it back around, holding it in a loop. Go behind the bead, go around the thread, go over top. You can rewind it and watch it again. Now recently, I have bought this Stonfo dubbing twister. I'm not going to tell you that it's my favorite in the toolbox, but it's coming close. So we hook that onto there, and it just dangles there like that. I mean, it's a little blurred out, but you got the picture. I put a little bit of wax on my thread. I send a clamp through here, the thread loop, and then we insert it, and as I let go, I pull tight back towards me on using this Stonfo dubbing loop maker, and it's beautiful. All I got to do is spin the beautiful ball bearing on this. I think it's UK. I think Stonfo's UK or Italian made. It's incredible. And until I see a little loop close right up by the bead of the hook, and then I don't get too fancy with my dubbing loops or my CDC hackle. You're gonna lose some, so I like it a little brushy. So I'm gonna use that whole thing, preening it back as I go. Get to the point where I got it all used. I'm gonna do 2 turns around it with my thread, 1, 2 turns over it, and I take my scissors and I just slice it off. I don't even cut it necessarily. And then I'm going to put a little bit of glue on here. And simply whip finish. Cut it. And that is the pink lady.